In the New Testament, the Macedonian churches were commended for their care for other churches who were in need out of the abundance of joy. The gospel had captured their hearts, and they were giving out of that abundance to others, and particularly to other churches. This is one way, serving on diocesan leadership is one way in which we can share out of the abundance of what Christ has done in us in helping the parishes of this diocese to flourish in gospel ministry and to support and encourage our diocesan bishop and his staff.
To me, serving on the standing committee for the diocese really means representation for your church, for the laity and for the clergy and for the people of this diocese to represent themselves as counsel to the bishop, and to be in participation with the governance and ordering of our common life together.
Serving on standing committee is an opportunity to be a part of this larger gospel movement that's going on in our area, because we are a part of it. And so to serve on standing committee means that I get to learn about it, I get to participate in supporting it, and it's an exciting thing. Once you get in it, you realize how much you care about what's going on with other people, because the Lord just stirs up your love for these other churches.
Serving on Diocesan Council means that the diocese has a collection of representation from the congregations that are across the various regions that the diocese cover. So it's helpful to have those people to take a look at the budget performance and some of the big picture objectives that the diocese has in between the annual convention meetings.
The thing that surprised me most about being on standing committee is actually the camaraderie, the community that came from serving with other people over a period of time together on a certain mission, which is helping our bishop lead, helping facilitate the flourishing of churches. And the team, if you would, or the committee, is an exciting and fun group of people to be with.
What surprised me about the role is how similar it is to serving on a vestry or maybe a school board or another sort of small governing council.
I remember feeling pretty unprepared or unqualified and wondering, why would I be a good candidate for this committee? And I remember bringing those concerns to that person, and because I was newer to Anglicanism at the time, but had a lot of curiosity and wanted to learn and wanted to be part of what's happening in our diocese. And that's what this person said. He said, maybe that's your strength, is that you don't have a lot of historical knowledge of how things have gone, and you can ask questions, and you can bring up something about, well, why is this the way that we've always done this? And is there a better way?
You're never ready for a leadership position where you don't know exactly what the Lord's going to bring or bring up. The Spirit is the one that guides the diocese as a whole, and the Spirit's the one that enables any of us to do any of that leadership. And I have found over and over again that that's the case. The Spirit leads us, and the Spirit leads me.
Diocesan Council is a really simple obligation to have. The meetings are quarterly, and they're met virtually on Zoom. Occasionally there might be an important sort of discussion that the bishop or diocesan staff want to have with the council, and so you would meet at sort of a special meeting. But quarterly and virtually, it's really simple to get involved.
Serving on standing committee includes, for 11 months of the year, a monthly meeting. And there's some prep for that, usually reading things like bylaws that need to be approved, and the minutes and that sort of a thing. But it's about a 5-hour commitment per month. And our diocese is healthy. And so the feel of that commitment even is, I'm encouraging flourishing, and I am supporting and encouraging the health of this diocese, which is good right now.
And then the rest of it is just keeping up with the emails and what's going on in the diocese. But if that's a pattern that you already have of participating in the life of your church and the diocese, then it's really not that large of a commitment overall.
It's wonderful for me to have a voice in getting to understand a little bit more about what is happening, and also offer any sort of wisdom that I would have on the opportunities or the objectives that the diocese are trying to achieve.
Being a part of a church that is beyond the burg, it feels really important to me to be able to participate in the life of the diocese in a little bit of a more involved way, not only to be a representative of our church from outside of the Pittsburgh area, but to be a representative of the diocese to our church too. A lot of my fellow congregants are not as connected with the diocese as maybe we'd like to be. And so I think it's helpful to have representation from my church's perspective. But then also a moment, there have been moments on the standing committee when we're talking about something, for instance, convention, and talking about maybe a schedule change and thinking about how this impacts the different participants, and being able to be a voice for the people who will be flying into town and representing those from beyond the burg. And so I can remember that as a moment where I thought, oh, this matters a lot that I'm here and that we have churches represented from across the diocese.
When you see things like church transitions, which are tough, come to a conclusion where a church gets a new leader and you realize, wow, that's an answer to the prayers we've been praying for this parish for a period of time. Or when you hear about new young leaders being ordained and you've been praying about that and you're excited to see a new crop of leaders coming into the diocese, it's that kind of joy and that kind of encouragement to my own faith that being a standing committee gives back to me.
The sort of person that would thrive in Diocesan Council is somebody who is curious about the whats and the whys that happen in diocesan work. They're also good at being able to read a budget or interpret one, and then also to figure out how the finances are working in the diocese. So if you like to put together budgets and are a planner, Diocesan Council is a really good spot for you.
If you're interested and you want to learn more about what's happening, I would say maybe even if you're considering ordination, if you're thinking about pursuing ministry, this is a great way to see what's happening kind of on the inside and to see the inner workings of this organization and how we're making decisions and how our leaders are being prayerful and seeking counsel and pursuing what the Lord has for our diocese.
A person who would thrive in diocesan leadership is someone who loves Jesus, loves to see the gospel go forth just more than just in their own parish, but in the area, in the region. Someone who is willing to be prayerful and see God work through those prayers. And someone who's maybe had some leadership in their own local situation, in their own church or parish.
As long as you have that sort of mindset to share wisdom and to offer your voice on the work of the diocese, you could find a good place in the council.
If you just can't stand meetings and you don't like to read and you don't like working with other people, maybe you're not a good fit. But if that's, as long as you're not on the far extreme of that, I think pretty much anyone can be equipped to do this kind of work. And you've got more skills than you think you do, just from your own life too. So I wouldn't count yourself out. Why not you?